Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. On this channel, we cut through the hype and the noise and give you the non-biased information you can use to make an informed decision. Now, in this video, I'm going to go over and kind of give you a heart-to-heart of what I see every day from doing countless hours of research in the banking sector. So we're going to dive into the big picture of what I'm seeing every day. Who are the players? Who's winning? What's everyone's roadmap and game plan? And then we're going to talk about all the misinformation about like the banking reset and Ripple and some of that stuff. And I want to talk to you of how to figure out how to look, what red flags to look for when you are thinking about following someone or who you should get information from. Now, it's not financial advice, but sometimes, guys, it's easy to figure out if a person just maybe knows a little more than you do because they sound intelligent, but they lack perspective and they lack knowledge and they don't really understand the big picture. And you find out they can't do math and that they're biased. And then at the end, if you want some help with your portfolio, we'll dive into how I might be able to help you as well. So that's what we're going to talk about. But the first question I want to answer and inform you about is, we all talk about, for instance, here every day, how Ripple's going to dominate the banking system and how Ripple's ODL is amazing, disruptive technology. And quite frankly, guys, it is disruptive and has been. But here's what everyone should be asking themselves. What is the response of the legacy banking system and the governments and Wall Street to that disruptive technology? Because, guys, I'm here to tell you, they have a roadmap and it's powerful. Now, a lot of you guys probably are not going to enjoy this video because it's going to be a heart-to-heart based in reality and facts. And I'm going to just talk about everyone's place in the big picture. It's just information. Do with it as you will, not financial advice. But guys, if you want to be successful, you got to have information that's valid. And you have to weigh out who the competition is and who's more probable to pull off their game plan. Now, for me, I follow the money. I used to work for Bear Stearns, so I was kind of an insider. And I'm here to tell you, before we dive into this, that the governments, primarily the U.S. government, Wall Street, and the central banks pick winners and losers to the best of their ability. And that's not just in crypto, that's in everything. And another point that I want to make that I'm 100% convinced about, when this is all said and done and we have the so-called banking reset, that we know that the legacy banking system is moving into the future and of, say, like Web 3, when that's all said and done, the legacy banking system is going to still be in power. They are still going to be the dominant player. Not only are they going to not lose control of banking, they're going to gain more control and more market share and more dominance. You're going to see that happen across the board with the governments and Wall Street. Right now, there is a battle for the dominance of the money flow. The central banks and the banks want control of deposits. They want control of stable coins, which we're going to talk about what their plan is to make that control happen. Wall Street definitely wants control of DeFi and like the tokenization of assets because they understand the big picture. And look, guys, the legacy banking system in Wall Street, and they really could care less about maybe a retail customer like me and you using DeFi and staking our own money without them. They're not after that. They'll probably forfeit that, and that is one sector we can win. What they want is the big money, the pension funds, the hedge funds. When the stock exchange stocks become tokenized, when real estate become tokenized, Wall Street wants that. And I hate to tell you guys, they're going to get it. So anyway, we're going to dive into what the roadmap is for the central banks right now, and you will compare that to the competition like Ripple. Now, here's the deal. I watched a video about 7-8 months ago, but it was a 2.5-year-old video from HSBC. It was a lady hosting it, was the global blockchain, development person for HSBC Bank. There was like 300 bankers on this live call, this podcast, whatever you want to call it. They were mainly their competitor. But this was a call to arms for the banking system. Because in my opinion, when Ripple's ODL rolled out, it absolutely put the legacy banking system on notice that there's a new game in town, and the technology is disruptive, and if they don't have a swift and competitive answer, they're going to be obsolete. Well, she talked about that in that podcast, and here's what she said in a nutshell. She said, look, we're competitors, but we have a common enemy. She didn't mention Ripple. I think that's what she was talking about. She said, we have to come together. We have to use our resources. We got to share our technology. We have to pull our political clout together and usher in regulation that supports our legacy banking system. That's basically, in a nutshell, what she said. Now, first thing that happened about 2 months later after that call, guess who's in court fighting the SEC? Ripple. In my opinion, that was the first fight back, right? You don't think the legacy banking system's got a game plan? A lot of people tell you they just roll down and they can't stop it. They're going to stop it. Hear me out. Now, none of this is, to talk bad about the banking tokens. I own every one of them. I own XRP. And I don't even like this information. But it is what it is. I'm going to try to front run it and capitalize on what's coming down the pipe. That's my game plan. And that's why I share it with the people that care. If you're tribal and you're already getting triggered, just hit the unlike button and go listen to someone that'll tell you, what you want to hear. Now, the next thing that I see them doing is attacking stable coins. Now, I knew that when if Terra created the stable coin, remember when they were trying to back it by Bitcoin? That would have been the most disruptive thing ever. And we saw what happened. And we know how all the stable coins have been being attacked since then. And right now, the one that I thought was the chosen one, and I still think if there is a stablecoin winner, it's going to be USDC. But I don't know if you guys know or have heard, and I just created a video on it, but the number one thing that the banks are pushing out right now, with a little help of all their friends on Wall Street like JP Morgan, they're called deposit tokens. If you're not aware of what a deposit token is, you've got to watch the link down below, and I'll put it, at the end of this video, and you can just click on it. But guys, deposit tokens are probably, I'm about 95% sure that they're going to get the lion's share to do exactly what stable coins do. It's almost exactly the same thing, but it puts the banks in control, backed up by the government and the FDIC. It's a game changer, guys. I don't like it, but quite frankly, that's the least of my worries is stable coins. Now, that being said, what's the overall big picture of the game plan? Well, I'm going to talk about JP Morgan because they're kind of the when I think of Wall Street, I really think of JP Morgan and like BlackRock. Now, there's a lot of different players like Goldman Sachs, and all the banks are pretty powerful. But people don't know this, but in 2008, for instance, when they had the crash, the two leaders of Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan got called to the White House as consultants. Basically, they turned over everything to them and said, how do we fix it? So guys, they're very, very, very powerful people. Now, what they want, no ifs and buts about it, is in the big picture, all the banks, every one of them, and most corporations are going to have their own blockchain, and it's going to be closed for the most part. Now, that sounds negative, but bear with me, because when I first understood this, yes, I was highly disappointed. And I'll get to how the other banking tokens are going to get their shares. So bear with me. We're going to talk about all that. But their goal is to have a closed circuit. And they don't want to use any outside technology that they don't have to use. They're not going to use any token that they can't recreate and totally control everything about it. But because of how you have to have vast interoperability, they're only going to be able to maybe get the lion's share, but that other share is going to be massive. So I'm not concerned about it, but I just want you to understand the game that we're in. So, for instance, you're going to have, HSBC. They're going to have their closed banking in between all their banks. Well, they're going to need to be tied into the Fed. They're going to need to be tied into other banks. They're going to need to be tied into Wall Street, the metaverse, DeFi, right? All that. That's where the other tokens like HBAR and Quant and Link and Algorand, XRP and XLM really, really are going to come into play, in my opinion. But so their overall goal is to dominate that. And then when tokenized assets happen and DeFi assets happen, they want it to, for the most part, to be on Ethereum. And if you look at JP Morgan and how they, all the power and all the banks that they have inroads in with, you've got JP Morgan basically is in the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. All those corporations, first thing they did was make sure that the EVM was pretty much the standard, and it is. If you're not going to be successful in crypto without having access to the Ethereum ecosystem. You don't see Ethereum building bridges out, they come in because they have to do it, just like the XRP Ledger created a EVM bridge like 4 or 5 months ago. Now, the other part that they want, the banks want people to keep their money in the bank and keep their crypto in the banks. Well, it's not technically going to look like this, but from what I can tell, you're going to have the average person. Imagine someone that's just the average person, has no interest in crypto, but they will own crypto in the future, whether they want to or not. Average person, let's say, has $10,000 in the bank. In a year or two, or whenever it rolls out, the banker is literally going to say, hey, do you want to buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or crypto? And if you say yes, the bank's going to handle all that for you. Now, they're not going to do the custodial part. They're going to pass that on to a third party. And those third parties are everywhere. And then you'll have chain analysis, which does custodial things as well, but they track every single thing you do. If you ever get audited, this is an educated guess, if you get audited by the tax man in the future, they're going to go pull your chain analysis report. And if you bought your crypto through the exchanges or through the banks, there's not going to be one single dime you can hide for whatever that's worth. But anyway, that's their game plan. Now their stable coins literally might be obsolete because of the deposit tokens. And again, watch that video. It's highly informative. Now, what's the other things that they have coming down the pipe? Well, JP Morgan has basically kind of merged their ecosystem of Onyx, which is JP Morgan's private blockchain. Now, if you follow the history of JP Morgan, and guys, this is what this video is all about. You know, there's a lot of influencers can tell you everything about what Ripple's up to, but it's kind of like betting on football. Putting your hard money into a bet about football because you love your home team and you got the best quarterback. And you literally put your money there, and then you run out and tell the whole world they're the best team, the best quarterback. Well, the difference between that person and, say, someone like me, I love my home team too. But I'm going to compare all the quarterbacks. Then I'm going to compare the defense and the running back and the coaches, the second team. I'm going to compare it all, even the cheerleaders. I'm going to compare it all. Then I'll tell you how much money I'm going to put down, right? That's the same in crypto. Guys, you got to know what the competition's doing. And the competition are already in the lead. JP Morgan has like 4,000 banks that they have partnerships with around the world, and they've been in business for 145 years. People don't get that. But anyway, I don't want to get off track. Their next step is to usher in another blockchain which indirectly they control. Now, from what I can tell, it's chain token. It's XCN. And we're going to dive into that. Now, before we do, I'm going to kind of just touch base on some highlights because most people just have no idea. They have nothing, no knowledge about like the legacy banking system and JP Morgan and Wall Street. So we're just going to touch base on some news that you may or may not have heard. And then I'm going to show you 3 different projects that definitely should be on your radar, and we might be able to capitalize on what the legacy banking systems are doing. All right, let's get into it. On your screen right here, check this out. That's the deposit tokens, a foundation for stable digital money. Onyx is the JP Morgan, one of the JP Morgan websites. Look at this, institutional DeFi. This is a report by JP Morgan, paving the future for institutional DeFi. Digital identity, the big shift, right? Basically, JP Morgan was a big influence on MetaMask, if you know that history. Check out this. Opportunities in the metaverse. JP Morgan had the first bank in the metaverse. Now, I don't think it's built out, but that's the land that they bought because they know that the future is going to be the metaverse, and they know it's Web3, no matter what Jamie tells people all the time. Learn how Deutsche Bank, Visa, and JP Morgan use Confirm for global account validation. There's multiple partnerships with all the big players. Now, here's the big thing, because I hear this all the time when people say, well, you can't compete with Ripple's ODL. liquidity management in the multi-currency corridor. They have like 3 different liquidity infrastructures already in place. What do you think they use right now? See, guys, I hate to say it, and people aren't going to believe it, but just compare ODL to what the competition has. Well, they can't tell you that because they have no idea about it. Yes, Ripple's ODL is disruptive, but guys, it's one of 7 different choices right now, and it doesn't matter. Don't kid yourself if it's the best. That's irrelevant. It may be the best to me and you, but JP Morgan is not going to promote Ripple's ODL. It may use it in some corridor in the world, but that's just because it was a small arm and it was easier to go that route. But the banks do not, and I repeat, they already do not own XRP. They don't buy XRP, they don't stack XRP, and they lease ODL, for the people that aren't aware of that. Now, look at this title. Unlocking 120 billion in value in cross-border payments. Sounds like Ripple. You hear that every day, right? People are always quoting Brad and David, which cracks me up. And I like both of them. Again, I own XRP and I plan to own Ripple when it goes public. That's where the money is, guys. Anyway, but they say, well, Brad said this. Brad said XRP was made to, to dominate cross-border payments. I get that, guys. I want to be bigger than Mr. Beast. I may be dumb enough to say I could be bigger than Mr. Beast. And some people might believe it. I doubt it. But the point being is there's other competitors, right? We all want to win the Super Bowl. There's only going to be one winner. So it doesn't matter what your coach says or what that quarterback says. You got to let it play out. And guys, I'm telling you, the power's behind the curtain. The power, the legacy banking system are the ones that weaponize the SEC. Don't kid yourself. JP Morgan probably was the first person they called, and JP Morgan probably called the White House directly. But look at this. JP Morgan's Onyx opens infrastructure to disrupt cross-border payments. Now, the reason I'm just telling you this just to show that I've done my homework. I've read every one of these articles times 10. But I just want, to bring some things to you guys' attention because no one ever talks about what JP Morgan is doing unless they have a partnership with one of the banking tokens, right? There is no JP Morgan Army. If there was, maybe some of this misinformation wouldn't be bouncing around. Now, I know I'm rambling on, but bear with me. Now, I'm going to show you one last thing and we'll move on. See, this article right here says using blockchain technology to solve real-world issues. Guys, they have projects that even as much information as I look at, I wasn't aware of, and I'm about to bring that to your attention. Their private blockchain is massive. It's already doing massive amounts of transactions in the big money arena. But check this article out, guys. Space Bridge, pioneering payments in space. Now, I've kind of read that and listened to some podcasts with some developers. I don't get it, guys. I really don't. Someone's going to have to break it down for me. But I think one of the things they're trying to do is in the future, we're going to be able to basically have access to our money if there was like a power outage or if literally the world's infrastructure power circuit went out. I think that's where they're going. But guys, that's JP Morgan involved in that. Now, let's move on. And I know this is getting a little long, guys, but bear with me. Again, there's that 120 billion in value. This is massive. Now, a lot of people are not going to understand this, and I get it, and it's not that big a deal, but to understand it. But it says Goldman begins trading on JP Morgan's repo blockchain network. More than 1 billion a day is traded through the Onyx platform. Now, the only thing you really need to understand is Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan are competitors. They're both very powerful brokerage firms, like the one I used to work for. But the reason this matters, it shows you the big money. The repo market used to be between all the major players, Coca-Cola, IBM, Tesla. That's just one big liquidity fund that they controlled. And if say Coca-Cola needed to borrow $50 million just for cash flow purposes, because they didn't have the liquidity they needed, they just jump in there, boom, 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 move their money around. Well, pre-COVID, I believe it was September 2020, it crashed. And literally, the world came to an end as we knew it, or it really did if the government wouldn't have stepped in. Then the government not only stepped in, they stayed there. I'm not going to get off on that tangent, but what I'm trying to tell you why this is significant is the money flow of who's going to control it. Well, that's the big boy money. I mean, that's the biggest money liquidity pool on the planet outside of what the Fed has. And JP Morgan blockchain's running in and out of that. And what that does solidifies them as the leader. Whatever they do, a lot, and I mean a lot of the big boys are going to follow. That's why that's significant. Now, no one ever has talked about this, including me. But this right here is Starbucks implements cutting-edge cross-border solution utilizing robotics and AI. Long story short, guys, they have like 33,000 locations worldwide in 8 different corridors around the world. Well, they needed to do cross-border payments. Who did they call? They called JP Morgan. No one talks about that partnership. JP Morgan set them up. Not only did they set them up, guys, this is years ago before anyone was talking about AI. I don't know how they're using the AI in this cross-border payment structure, but I know they're using JP Morgan. So guys, no matter what, I'm just showing you that it's competitive, and then we'll get to hopefully the tokens we can take advantage of. Bear with me. But check this out. JP Morgan sees deposit token advantages over stablecoins for commercial bank blockchains. They're going to roll that out, and that's going to be a big deal when people start to realize what's happening right under their eyes. Look at this. Tokenized government bonds free up liquidity in traditional finance. Onyx. Consumer protection needs to be a priority for digital assets projects. That's JP Morgan pushing their negative for regulation to make sure that they are the front runner. They want to protect us, right? JP Morgan executes first DeFi trade on public blockchain. Swift action. No, well, anyway, JP Morgan and Visa team up for cross-border payments, blockchain payments. Now, there's one of their liquidity management corridors. This is their multi-currency corridor between the Monetary Authority of Singapore and France. Now, here's the big deal, guys. And you can dig down this rabbit hole all you want, but CHAIN was its own independent blockchain that really wasn't affiliated with JP Morgan. And we're going to talk about just how powerful CHAIN may end up coming, because guys, I'm stacking this bag, no ifs and buts about it. But don't run out and get it today. Just hear me out. Now, it says chain token burn, product launch. Let's see, what else it say? Time lock extension and rebranded proposal. You can see Chain has now merged with the Onyx platform. Now this talks about the launch, and the old token was CHN, the new token is XCN. So when you see XCN, I want you to think two things. I want you to think of the XRP Ledger for JP Morgan. That's basically what they're going to do. Now, what's part of this game plan, this big picture, and this is really important, guys. I know this is getting long, but bear with me, is that JP Morgan, you got Quorum, Onyx, Consensus, MetaMask, the Ethereum Alliance, all that, right? They're pushing all that agenda onto the Ethereum ecosystem. And from what I can tell, what JP Morgan and a lot of these legacy banking systems, that when they need interoperability and they can't do it on their own blockchain, they're probably going to move over and use Chain. And they're coming out with DeFi, liquidity pools, a DAO, a foundation, all kinds of stuff to push their agenda. And it's starting with Chain. I'm telling you, I'm excited. As much as I hate this, I hate it. I hate every bit of it. I wish the banks, Wall Street, I wish all of them would go out of business. But, guys, I'm here for the money. All right, look at these partnerships. Go to chain.com if you want to learn more. They're backing the Patriots, Kraft Foods, Gillette, the Miami Heat. Guys, I think they're sponsoring that stadium. I'm not sure. I forgot. I've read so much I can't keep up with it. But, guys, they are absolute powerhouse already. Who created Chain? Because no one, I'll be honest, guys, hasn't been on my radar. But it says it was launched in 2004 by some very powerful players in the developer world. And the developers launched Chain Core after raising $40 million. That's in 2014. That's a lot of money. And they had partners like the NASDAQ, Orange, Capital One, and Citigroup. So, guys, they've been in the game for a long time. We just didn't know it. Now, up above, you can see CHN has rebranded to XCN. Now, it's 209 position right now. Now, let's see what the circulation supply is. 23.7 billion tokens. The market cap, this is what I like, guys, 123 million. Guys, this could be one of the projects that just take off out of nowhere, and this could literally be the type project that could give you that 100x and above. Not saying it is whatsoever, and I need to dive into the tokenomics for sure. But right now, I love this. I like to see it beat down, and we're at 0.007. I love the more zeros in the front to 20 cents. I don't know how, I haven't calculated that yet, but that, guys, that's a big move. It's a big move. But again, I got to check the tokenomics. Now, so put Chain on your radar. That's all I want you to do, not financial advice. Now, LiFi. LiFi is their new DeFi project. Now, for you guys that are more advanced and you know how to move around in DeFi and everything else, not financial advice, but if you go play around in it, maybe just use their platform. Stake whatever you need to use the platform because it doesn't have a token. The odds are, I mean, like 99% chance that you will get an airdrop when they do launch their token for the people that are more advanced. Now, that being said, right here we can see that PERP v2 integrates with the cross-chain liquidity aggregator, LiFi. Well, who is that? Well, that is Perpetual protocol. Well, I dug into that, and we can buy their token. If you go to their website, perp.com, check them out. I went to their Twitter. They have 78,000 followers. I think it's a way to invest, another way to invest in that ecosystem, because it's affiliated with the big boys and the legacy banking systems indirectly. Now, again, that chart's been beat down. Could be a huge upside. Now, obviously, we're getting down the ladder pretty deep, but it's still at 246. Another project that I wasn't aware of that now I'm personally going to take a look at. Pretty much, guys, that's all I got for you. If you haven't, as far as that, stay with me. I'm going to talk to you about the other things. If you haven't watched that video about deposit tokens, you got to understand this, guys. And let me know your thoughts, because I really think that stablecoins may be obsolete. What I think is going to happen is deposit tokens will kind of be like CDBCs. The average person that just doesn't have a clue and trusts the government will be using the deposit tokens, which will be half of America, and they will be using CBDCs. People like me and you will not be using it. We'll be using the most stable coin if we're allowed. So I think like USDC is still going to be the power player when it comes to Wall Street. I mean, you got BlackRock, JP Morgan, and Bank of Mellon, backed by, the players that are invested in Circle, and they're buying government bonds, which is going to be basically stacked at the Fed. I just don't see USDC not being around and not being the one that the big boys use, because they are too big. The money might be too big to use deposit tokens. And then I think like tokens like ADA, we might be using their stable coin when we're on their ecosystem. We'll see how it plays out, but no matter what, I'll be surprised if deposit tokens are not the dominant player when it comes to basically stablecoin, in that sector. Now, the second thing I want to talk to you guys, red flags to look at when you're looking at someone to even listen to whatsoever. If they don't tell you the negative, then I don't trust them. I don't care what we're talking about. If you're buying a car and you ask them about the gas mileage and they lie to you or they don't bring it up, well, I don't trust you. Tell me it has bad gas mileage. I'm a big boy. I can handle the truth, right? So that's a red flag. If they don't talk about tokenomics ever, it's a huge red flag. If they spin the bad news right in front of you, right? If they don't even bring it up. For instance, just like the attack on HBAR. First thing I did was notify my community. I guarantee you there's people that love HBAR just like I do. They just blew it off. I watched them. They just blow it off. They don't even bring it up. Oh, it's it's nothing. And it may be I don't think it's anything, but I gave you the information, let you decide. So those are red flags. If it has like XRP or any token name in their channel name, that is a huge red flag. That means they're definitely biased. Now, if they happen to be like a developer that works on that project, they're probably still a little biased, but yes, I want to hear them out. I definitely would listen to those. But if it's an average person that's not affiliated with like Ripple or HBAR or Algorand, any of that, and they have that logo and stuff, they're biased, guys. Tread lightly. That's a red flag. Now, another red flag. If you ask them questions, whether it's on Twitter or in their comments or whatever, that contradicts what they say, and they never answer that, to me that's a huge red flag as well. Now, another thing that I personally see, especially when it comes to bizarre numbers, for instance, and I'm not going to dive into the bizarreness of the price of, say, XRP. But guys, I just want to put something in perspective. If XRP hit $1,000, forget the idiots, the flat out idiots that say it can be 10,000, 50,000, a million and all that. If XRP hit $1,000, Ripple will have more assets in value just through how many tokens they own to make them more valuable than Tesla, than Amazon, than Microsoft, than MicroStrategies, than Walmart, Coca-Cola, and I could go on and on. I don't know how many more combined. You really think that's going to happen, guys? Because that's where the people that say that obviously have no idea about supply and demand and how tokenomics work. And if they are not on that level where they can have a conversation and understand, and they say something as bizarre as XRP can hit 1,000, guys, I can't listen to them about anything. That's just me, not financial advice, but that can't be more of a red flag. Because mathematically, guys, pretty sure there's no way in heck Ripple probably will never be more valuable than, say, Tesla or Apple. They may, and that is a possibility. I definitely think Ripple will be a Fortune 100 corporation. But if they hit 1,000, they will be bigger than the top 10, 20. They'll be the whole first 25. That's not going to happen, guys. I hate to tell you. And anyone that tells you it's a red flag. Now, I know we're getting long in the tooth. If you're still with me, I definitely appreciate it. Now, here's the deal. I'm working with people one-on-one. Here's what I want for you in that process. It's not financial advice. It's just coaching and a better understanding of how to build a portfolio that gives you the best probability to take advantage of the next bull run. You know, this happens to all of us. We end up watching videos and we fall in love with different projects, and next thing you know, we look up and we own 50 different tokens, and the money's scattered everywhere. We want to add over here, but then we're out of money. We don't know when we're going to get out. We want to add other tokens. It's just chaotic. And then when we stack those bags and they go against us like 70, 80, 90%, people panic because they really don't have a game plan. So I want to help you with all that. We'll organize that. And guys, look, this is a discount right now because I'm pioneering this system that I want to create. So it's only $250, and you'll have access to probably 3, 4, or maybe even 5 conversations with me. That's not going to happen in the future. I don't know what the price will look like, but eventually I'm going to have a system in place. And for right now, I plan on raising the price substantially. But no matter what about the price, in the future you won't have 2, 3, 4, 5 phone calls because I'll be able to do it a lot more efficiently. So if you want to work with me, my email will be down in the comment section. So that's all I got for you guys. This is not financial advice, but I want to leave you on this note. We're in a bear market. We're in crazy times. Right now, I truly don't believe the bull market started. I think something's going to break. Decide as you will. Bitcoin is pumping. I'm looking for shorts. That's just me. Because I think we're going to go back and test those lows whenever something breaks. Because, guys, what I want everything to match up. Before Bitcoin's going to go make a new high, for instance, we got to have a growing economy. Bitcoin is not going to make a new high when our economy is shrinking. We're going to have to get inflation under control, and the Fed's going to have to pivot. And I don't mean just stop raising rates. I mean start printing money again. And the problem is, if they pivot too soon and open up that printing press, inflation is going to skyrocket like it did in the 70s. And guys, the average person is already strapped. We're this close to just collapse across the board. Every metric there is right now. People can't refinance their houses. They can't pull that equity out because they can't afford the payments. Half the people can't go buy a new home because they can't afford those payments. We are at record highs as far as debt, not only in this country, but for the average person. And they just get more credit cards. And you know, at first, when you get that first credit card, you get like 12 months, and then it goes like 28%. People are getting laid off every day. And don't kid yourself. Yes, maybe the unemployment looks good, but two things that they do when it comes to unemployment. All the people, all the homeless people, all the people been looking for jobs that kind of just gave up, they don't include that, right? And then, yes, there might be more jobs out there, but guys, I personally know people that have 2 and 3 jobs. Those jobs are more like Uber and delivering food and, you know, cleaning condos at the beach part-time. Those type jobs, yeah, there's plenty of them out there. However, Facebook, Tesla, all these powerful corporations around the world, even crypto developers getting laid off. So, guys, before I'll conceive that the bottom's in, we're going to have some positive. There's nothing, not one single positive in the world right now that would make, for instance, to justify crypto, say altcoins, maintaining a rally, the stock market maintaining a rally, cars are crashing. What is the online car company? They're going belly up. Just filed for bankruptcy. Carvana. Real estate's crashing. Guys, nothing is positive. Anyway, that being said, guys, that's all I got for you. If you want to work with me, it's $250. The link's down below. Just send me an email. We'll get you started. Don't listen to people that don't have perspective and aren't honest with you guys. If they're biased and they're giving you misinformation, they're going to get you wrecked. So I don't want you to get wrecked. I want the best for you. That's why we give you the good, bad, and the ugly on this channel. That's all I got for you guys. Please subscribe, because I'm telling you, technology is changing so fast right now. I can't keep up with hardly any of this. Now, one other point, and I know most people have already left. I get that. All the banking sector tokens, Algorand, XDC, XRP, XLM, Quant, Link, all of them, in my opinion, are going to do great. They have a heck of a future. It's just going to take longer than we think. So I own them. I'm not going to get rid of them. But there are different projects, maybe with a better upside, coming out every day. So we want to stay alert with those. That's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Hit that like button. Come back. Be part of this community. Take care.